This is the Business Growth Hacks Podcast, presented by Beefy Marketing. Here's your host, Andrew Brockenbush.
John, how is it going, man?
Oh, video world, rocking and rolling.
It is not every day that you break a TV and eat the world's largest baked potato right before you do a podcast episode.
Not every day.
But today was that day.
Today was that day.
Yeah, feeling a little sluggish.
That was a big lunch.
I think the weight of the baked potato is what caused me to break the TV.
Yeah, probably.
I think it just caused me to roll back in the chair.
Put too much weight on that belly.
Put too much weight on that chair. Put too much weight on the TV. So, for those of you out there listening, it's not always going to go as planned.
Not always.
We should have this beautiful TV behind us. But right before we pressed record, the baked potato caused me. I'm going to blame it on the baked potato.
I'd blame the baked potato.
The baked potato caused me to break a TV. But that is okay. Today, we've got a great topic for you guys. We're talking about social media. We're talking about 6 great ways you guys can kind of get your business noticed out there. But like we do every single week, we have got a question that we're going to kind of just chit chat about for a little bit before we get into the actual meat and potatoes here. Potatoes.
Potatoes.
We're not getting to the potatoes. Broken TVs. John, what key activities would you recommend entrepreneurs invest their time in?
Ooh, key activities.
Yeah.
Huh?
I have a couple thoughts, but I'd like to hear your thoughts too.
So I guess obviously I'm going to go with video
Yeah.
as an answer.
Yeah.
I think video is super important. It can play a role in your website, in your advertising, in your social media presence. I mean, video is kind of a multi-tool for every facet of marketing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I've been torn on it as I, kind of had put the question together. I was like, what do I think about this? I think there's kind of 2 things in my opinion, and it's like a tough balance of learning, right? Like investing time in like learning new things.
Yeah.
Which when you said video, it kind of made me think of that side of video, right? Like there's so much great content out on YouTube that you can consume to like learn new skills.
Right.
Our podcast studio would have not been possible without the 1,000 YouTube videos you and I watched.
No.
Where we piecemealed this thing together.
Yeah, what did this guy do? What did this guy do?
Oh, what are the good ideas?
What do we know
what
works? What can we afford?
And put it all together, and we came up with what we came up with, and it's amazing. I think learning is obviously important, but I think even more important than that, you have to invest time in doing.
Oh, yeah.
So
the act of.
Just the act of. We spend a lot of time creating ideas and talking about what if this and what if that. And I was guilty of that for a long time.
Yeah.
I feel like really over the last few months, as we've kind of got this brand new office, that's changed because I've surrounded myself with people like you and the rest of our team where we've been able to put an idea out and actually execute.
Just see the idea come to fruition right in front of us.
Yeah. And so I'd say invest your time into doing. Like, stop wasting time. Yeah.
100%. No matter what, whether it's video or ads or a new logo or whatever, you're right. Doing.
Yeah.
Take the step.
Yeah.
That is the initial first part that's the hardest.
Yeah. And it's the most part people procrastinate on.
The short clip that I had this week for the Team Never Quit podcast was a Mandy Harvey clip where she talks about trying, getting back up.
Yeah.
It's the hardest part.
Yep.
Like most people won't make the conscious effort to try.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and I feel like so many people spend so much time in the idea phase or even just the learning phase.
Yeah.
That they're always so afraid to do. Like, I'd say that this podcast and these YouTube videos we're creating is a perfect example of that. For the last nearly 10 years, I've wanted to do this.
Right.
But I've been intimidated or didn't feel like I had the skill or know-how.
Right.
And now I'm like, we just have to do it.
You just have to do it.
Put it out there. And there's somebody that's going to learn from us, and we're going to learn along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
And honestly, we're probably going to get our best learning experience.
Honestly, I think as long as you're willing to better yourself, you're going to be the best version of you every week to week. As long as the only person that you're really striving to be better than is yourself.
Yep. Yeah. So great topic planned for today, John. We're talking about social media, which we kind of dissed on one of our last episodes.
A little bit to some extent.
We weren't trying to put too much shade.
No, but we were talking more about SEO.
We're talking about SEO.
And the importance of SEO.
And just how significant SEO is.
But right? I think we downplayed a little bit of social media's influence, I think, in that episode.
Yeah. And I've got a statistic because that's what we do.
Ooh.
By 2023,
Okay.
the number of social network users in the U.S. is expected to reach 257.4 million.
Wow.
First of all, it's a big number.
That's a huge number.
I definitely can't count that many.
No.
But that's a fraction. The number of global social media users is expected to reach almost 3.43 billion by 2023.
Got to be in the billions.
You know?
Yeah.
And so when we think about the segment, 257.4 million, just in that, this was a statistic as of 2019, right? So that was a couple of years ago.
Right.
So who knows what those numbers are now, especially with platforms like TikTok, which are just like
yeah,
crazy growth.
I
right?
downloaded it last week and started checking it out. And
It's addicting.
My goodness.
It is
dude.
addictive.
Well, yeah.
So when you think about those numbers, though, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, if you're not investing time in there,
Yeah.
you're missing out.
I would say so. It's basically like the old bulletin board at the school
Yeah.
with all the stuff on it. I mean, that's what social media has kind of become.
Yeah.
A digital version of the bulletin board, but it's way more interactive and intuitive.
I think that's a great analogy. The bulletin board is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's putting it out there into the world.
Right.
Right. But then it's just like so many more layers than that.
It is.
Because it has its own, it can evolve on its own, right?
Right.
I can interact with that and I can, like it or dislike it. Like there's so much to it.
Yeah, it's like a bulletin board that's in every room in the
Exactly.
world.
And
Yeah.
everyone can see it.
Everyone can see it. And
Right.
that's, yeah.
And I think what's so important about that is 70% plus shoppers online are using social media to influence their purchase decision.
Oh, 100%.
And so we talked about this last on our SEO podcast, how, a well-rounded marketing strategy is super important.
Oh, yeah.
Because just because you're like, well, I don't think that, social media is really where I should be spending my time or my money or
Right.
whatever. Your clients, your potential customers, they're looking for you to be there.
They're there.
And if you're not there, the competitor that shows up in that moment, they're going to be the one that wins, right? It's just like SEO.
Oh, yeah.
Which keywords are you focused on?
Right.
It's the same thing in social media. How are you being present?
Right.
How are you showing them that you're a legitimate business? How are you showing them that there's a personal side to your business?
Right.
I think that's especially what's most important about social media.
I think so too. It gives the human element of
Yeah.
everything. Of I am an actual person who has an actual life with actual dreams, and
and this business belongs to someone.
Right. It's not like this entity that you can't touch.
That's right.
It's a person.
Websites. I feel like websites, like were the first kind of big internet thing that like allowed you to kind of put your business out into the world, but beyond a good design, it doesn't really show the true personality of the people behind the website.
No. And until recent years, it wasn't like websites were designed in a manner where you could easily update them constantly.
I mean, it's like you would do it once and it would be your website for 10 years.
Yeah. You had to know what you were doing to get in that HTML.
Yeah, you'd be highly technical. And so for a while, like you said, websites were relatively static.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't this dynamic component. It wasn't changing. So I think it's important that we talk about social media today.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of layers to social media.
Oh, yeah.
From frequency of posting to picking the right
platforms. Yeah.
I think, I don't know if I'm qualified to be the one talking about this, only because when I started the agency 10 years ago, people would kind of seek me out and talk to me about how to be effective on social media. And at the time, I would consider myself an expert 10 years ago.
Right.
Because social media was relatively new.
Oh, yeah.
Facebook was in early stages.
Yeah, MySpace had kind of
We came out of the MySpace age. Yeah. And really, we were, our age, we were kind of the pioneers of MySpace.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
for sure.
We're the ones who were customizing people's profiles.
That was like the first, aside from Notepad, the first place that you ever got to play with HTML.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I'm 32, you're
35.
We were in that age where it was big, especially for us. We were musicians.
Oh, yeah.
And in the music space, that was a big.
Oh, yeah. Band website
was on MySpace, right?
We're going to be famous if we have a website.
Yeah, exactly. If you're on and your page looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
And so because of that, naturally, we were kind of like the gatekeepers for the next wave of social.
Right.
And so Facebook was easy per se.
Yeah.
And then social media kind of came like a fire hydrant. Like it just was.
What was interesting with the MySpace to Facebook switch was that MySpace actually had way more customizable options.
Way more.
Facebook did. But it seemed like we liked that format better. Everyone just
Isn't that
gravitated
weird?
over there. Like I
why?
personally liked MySpace better, but because there was no one on there to talk to anymore,
Everyone got
my social media went towards Facebook.
Yeah. And so Facebook, I think, was like kind of the real start of businesses taking social media seriously.
I agree. It was when I think even I realized this is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
A legitimate thing, not just for kids to play around on the
And I remember when it first came out, I was so like apprehensive.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, I love MySpace. I don't want to leave MySpace.
I don't want to leave it.
I don't leave Tom. You know?
I honestly, it was only because there was no one on there to talk to anymore.
Same.
It's the only reason
And
why
I finally eventually just had to do it. And I remember the first year or so, I didn't even like really do anything on Facebook.
Not really, other than probably spam invite people.
That's right.
Crap way
just
too
because you
much.
wanted to like grow your grow your following or whatever.
And now I'm like, I know there's people that probably aren't my friends.
Yeah,
just 'cause
exactly.
They've been invited to so much.
Same, like, who are these people?
I'm so sorry.
So, social media, massive evolution in the last 5 or 6 years.
Definite, huge evolution.
And not just between the last 10 years, but also like weeks, months, days ago.
Oh yeah,
right. Like it feels like every day you're hearing about this new
there's
social
a new
platform,
trend in social. Yeah,
TikTok or Snapchat or Pinterest or there's the audio social app. What is it called?
SoundCloud.
No, that's SoundCloud deal. But
that's one of them.
There's the audio chat.
Oh,
it's in our head.
Yeah, I know
it's
what
right
you're
there.
talking about.
It's all good.
The one.
The one.
That one app. Start another podcast. That one
to
app.
be continued. This is the new social media platform.
Yeah.
The one.
The one.
All that to say, I think there's kind of 6 key things I'd like to talk about with you today.
All right.
When it comes to getting your business out there,
right?
Using social media.
Yeah.
Maybe drop some of the intimidation factor because it can be overwhelming.
It can be because there's so many platforms. Which one do you pick? Do you just post,
you go to
shotgun
everything?
post?
Yeah. And so I think we're going to just jump into it.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it. I think the first thing I want to talk about and cover is identifying your goals.
Okay.
If you don't know what you're trying to use social media for,
exactly,
then it's a shot in the dark.
Well, there's nothing to gauge what you're doing against.
That's right.
It's a shot in the dark.
Yeah.
100%.
One of the things that I struggle with a lot of times with even our clients, and I'm happy to put this out there, is that a lot of our clients expect that social media is to gain a following.
Right.
We want 100 likes. We want 1,000 followers. We want 50 shares. What does that mean?
Right.
Right?
Because, I mean, I could go create 100 fake accounts and get you 100 followers right now.
That's right. You can go to Fiverr and buy 100 followers.
It's really only one impression.
And are they relevant?
Yeah.
Are they qualified or quality leads?
Yeah.
Like for me, likes, impressions, follows, yes, they can translate into something more, but really to some extent, it's a vanity metric.
Exactly.
It's a metric that fuels pride and not ROI.
Right. And pride isn't going to pay the bills.
That's right. It's like, ooh, I got 1,000 followers. Great. How many customers do you have?
Right.
How much money's in the bank?
If you have 0 customers, you've made 0 sales, then your social media is entirely ineffective, even if you have 1 million followers.
Yeah, that's right.
If they're the wrong people, like we were talking about with SEO, if it's the wrong audience.
Thing.
Yeah, if it's the wrong audience, it's the wrong audience. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that when you start to write down those goals, if you start to kind of goal plan around like, okay, what is it that we're hoping to get out of social media?
Right.
Then you start having more realistic expectations of what you can get out of it.
I got you. Instead of this
vanity.
And you're going up maybe against a huge company like Nike or something that's going to have a huge following.
Of course you're not going to have 1 million followers.
They're a huge company.
That's right.
And you're not going to compete if you sell sportswear.
That's right.
But getting the right people from your area who are interested in that and showing the difference in your product than Nike or the what's better about it than Nike.
Yeah.
That's what's going to get you sales.
Yeah, and what makes you unique?
Right.
That's the most important thing. How is that going to translate whenever you're posting on social media? What kind of people are you trying to attract?
Right.
Because like you said, you're not going to be able to compete with Nike.
No.
But you can put your stuff in front of the people that you care to attract.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You also need to be thinking when you're coming up with your goals, how much time are you willing to commit to social media?
Yeah, we were talking about at the beginning, putting in the work, putting in the time.
That's right. Because if you're not
social is all a time game.
Major.
That's
it
all
is a
it
time
is.
suck.
It is. And I know my band's social media is terrible. I haven't posted nothing on there in forever.
Yeah.
And it just developing a consistent schedule, even if it's just one thing a day or every couple of days, just being consistent about it is really going to help that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And I think that you just have to know, like, if your expectation is to have 1 million followers on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, then your time commitment needs to match that.
Right.
Right. Which means that as you're putting those goals down, there's kind of sub goals that are going to be associated.
Part of that. Yeah.
Right. Like, if I want 1 million followers, what is it going to take to get 1 million followers?
Right.
Is it paying a marketing agency $1,000 a month to manage my social media?
Maybe
not. Right. Like, maybe it'll help lay the foundation.
Right.
But in addition to that, what am I going to have to do on my side to really get there?
Yeah.
Right. Because there's one thing, like, you know, again, something that we kind of struggle with as an agency, and I think a lot of other agencies out there do as well, is that when we write social media content for a client, it's to create that base level that they need to be present, to be consistent, and to engage with the customers that are talking to them.
Right.
And what we call social listening to what people are saying about them out on the internet. Right.
Yeah.
If you want 1 million followers though, then you need to probably have somebody doing that part, that cadence, basic stuff, and posting stories and doing live videos and doing whatever the newest feature is in whatever social media app you're using. You got to be doing it, because that's what the algorithm, we talked about algorithm last week too, right?
Yeah.
That's what the algorithms are going to favor.
Yep.
And so if you have goals that are that big, that's awesome.
Yeah.
As long as you know what it's going to take to get there.
Right. You're going to have to put in the legwork.
Yeah. And then I think most importantly in your goals is, what are you trying to get out of it?
Right.
Is it going to be increased exposure? Is it getting more traffic to your website?
Right.
Or is it literally just building credibility?
Right.
Right.
Just a presence.
Just a presence. And honestly, for a lot of clients, that's enough.
It really is. Just being there.
That's right.
Is a lot.
Because if I search a business up right now, like I don't know, a doctor's office.
Right.
And I'm trying to talk, there's these 2 doctors I'm looking for. I'm going to go look at both of their social channels and see when the last time they posted was.
Right.
Because are they open still?
Right.
Do they have a relationship with their customers?
Yeah,
that's
valid.
I can learn a lot about your voice and your business, your personality, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
By reading your social content as much as I could walking into your office.
Absolutely.
And it's like, if you pride yourself in being a funny, laid back doctor's, medical practice, then your social media and your website and everything else needs to reflect that personality.
I would say so. Otherwise, it's kind of a misrepresentation of what you're walking into.
And vice versa. If you're really professional and stuffy, or just classy,
don't want this,
then you don't want to have that tone there, because and it's okay to be that way.
Oh yeah.
Because you're going to attract different people. And depending on who you want to attract, that might be the best messaging.
Right, yeah.
So it is important to have that just consistency on social media.
I think so.
Number one, identify your goals.
Absolutely.
Right. Second thing, write them down. We always are told, right? If it's not written down, it's not real. Matt, we're always going to give you love for that.
Yeah.
I think number 2 is leverage all of the platforms that are out there and the formats.
Okay.
What do we mean by that? Video, podcasts, blogging, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest.
Yeah.
You have to pick the platforms that make the most sense for you.
Right.
I think the most important thing you can do at this stage, if you're saying, okay, all right, Andrew, you're telling me something I've been hearing for the last year. I know I need to be doing social media, but I'm not really sure where to get started. It's intimidating. It's scary. What do I do first? Figure out where your target demo, where your customer persona, where do they spend their time?
Right.
If your demographic's a little bit older, they're likely on Facebook or Twitter.
Most likely.
Okay. Maybe Pinterest too. Maybe Instagram too.
I did follow an 82-year-old man on TikTok.
Really?
It was awesome.
Nice. It's funny you say that, because I don't know if you followed the firefighter.
Is
that who you're talking about?
Yeah. Started with a helmet.
The fact that he has gone viral on TikTok is impressive.
I watched it yesterday. He is fully encompassing what we're talking about here, though, honestly, because he was in a firefighter regalia doing a TikTok dance on TikTok. It was great.
Good for him. And he's how old?
He's 82, I believe he said.
Dude, what a boss.
He's awesome.
So utilize the platforms. Figure out where your audience is at. TikTok is kind of an anomaly, because right now TikTok's in that real weird phase where it's like everyone is using TikTok.
I think it's in the make it or break it time for it.
Yeah. And so it's kind of
either going to become a thing or fiddle out.
That's right. And it's kind of figuring out, maybe it will, you know what, when I think of TikTok, I think of YouTube.
Yeah.
There's something there for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram are a little different is because it's not a video format.
Right.
It's not their primary, I guess, functionality.
Yeah, it's not the main point.
And because of that, I think that those other platforms tend to attract certain audiences.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, who are they going to attract? Professionals.
Be more professionals.
Right? Like, we know that.
Absolutely.
Young teenagers are not hanging out on LinkedIn. There's nothing there for them.
Nothing to hang out and look at.
Right?
Where,
likely most, I say this loosely, but likely most young people are also not on Twitter. Twitter is a very popular news site.
Yeah.
Even the celebrities that are using TikTok, it's used in kind of a news-esque, fashion.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, a lot. Twitter is kind of like a news. And that's kind of what it was set up as. Is like those little tweets.
Yeah, these quick little
things that
grab this little bite right quick, right? Instagram is going to be like a perfect middle age. You're going to have some older people, some younger people, but it's kind of that mid-range age group where it's like, people our age, honestly, kind of move from Facebook into Instagram. And we found that most of us on Facebook were okay with just looking at pictures of our friends and family and seeing what they were up to, right? Yeah. Here's my burgers. Here's my selfies. Yeah. Whatever.
Remember when it was all food? Yeah.
When it was all food for a minute,
food,
right?
Yeah.
Whereas Facebook is still kind of a mixed news feed of text, images, videos, links.
All kinds of stuff.
Kind of content, right?
Mm-hmm. And the groups in Facebook now.
That's right.
Marketplaces in there. There's actually a whole nother place for you to market yourself in there.
And because of that, you find, again, that kind of leverages back though to that adult crowd. Like kids aren't, most young kids are not marketplacing. No. But mom and dad who've got too much stuff in the garage are. Oh yeah. Right? Like that was like a Craigslist replacement.
Yeah, basically it's, I can kind of see who you are and know that you're not going to murder me when I meet you.
When I come pick up my stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what
that's so true that you say that, because I've definitely went to sell something and I go to their personal profile. I'm like, you look kind of sketchy. Do I really want to do this? So all that to say, figure out which platform where your users are at.
Right. Because if all of your users are using TikTok, but you are over here on Twitter, you're not hitting your right audience.
That's right. Yeah. And that ties back to those goals. If you want 1 million followers, or if you want 1 million people coming to your website, are you attracting the right 1 million? Right. Are you even in the right, stadium? Yeah. Right. You're playing football in a soccer field. It's like, okay, this is close.
This is close.
But this is not actually right here, And
not like one of those weird football stadiums.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, you can see the baseball diamond in it because they only got one complex. Yeah.
So it's very important that you figure out what platforms to use, and then again, using multiple formats. And when I say formats, I think blogging is my favorite example of this, and we've really kind of mastered this lately.
I would say so.
Is using one piece of content in a variety of different formats. Oh yeah. So unbeknownst to you guys out there listening to this episode, we at Beefy are using our existing blog content and additional blog posts that we write on a consistent basis to create podcast scripts. Yep. Because not everyone is going to go to our website and read our blogs. No. That's okay.
That's fine by me.
Not everybody's going to watch a video because they don't have time to sit down and watch it. Right. For a lot of you guys out here listening, didn't even know we have a video component on YouTube. You guys are probably listening in your kitchen while you're cooking. You're in your car driving home from work, driving to work, whatever it may be. We're able to take that one blog post we wrote and turn it into 3 different formats. Right. Audio for podcasts, YouTube videos, as well as text-based content on social media and LinkedIn and everywhere else.
And all of that works together.
And yes, it required the time, energy to put into it. Right. But financially speaking, we only had to write one blog post to get 3 pieces of content. Right. And what's cool about that is that one piece of content can go to so many platforms. Oh yeah. Right. It works as the blog post serves as a great link to post on LinkedIn. Oh yeah. The YouTube video serves as a great YouTube video. Right. But that we can put a link back to our website. Exactly. And then the podcast is now a piece of content somebody that can listen to in their car. It's like, that's so cool.
It is. You got 3 different areas, and you're not capitalizing on one. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket. Yeah. You're spreading it out, but it's not the shotgun method. It's more of strategic sniper targets.
That's right.
And you're hitting this one and that one and that one.
Yeah.
And because it's more focused, it's going to hit where it's supposed to instead of somewhere random.
Well, imagine if we had Kara, who's our social media manager, if she was in the room right now.
That's what I was just thinking.
She could take a few photos.
Yeah.
And she could make this an Instagram post.
Absolutely.
You could take the end video from this and take 20 seconds of it and turn it into a TikTok video.
Absolutely. I could set up another camera and get us a behind the scenes.
That's right. And that can go on another platform.
Right.
We could take everything we're talking about today, these 6 tips, and we could turn them into an infographic and post it on Pinterest.
Absolutely.
All from one blog post.
Right. And so you're capitalizing on what you're producing.
And you're being efficient with your time.
Right. Because you're not wasting a whole lot of time creating content. You're just taking content and putting it out
and getting the most out of it.
Yeah.
That's right. And so many people always tell me, I don't have time, Andrew. I don't have time to do social media. I don't have time to do all of the different places. For one, you don't have to do them all.
No.
Figure out which ones make the most sense for you. And two, you do have time. You need to figure out how to maximize your time.
Right.
So if I'm shooting a podcast video here, that's why we're doing video.
Yeah.
That's why Kara might swing by sometimes and take photos of us.
Right.
Because we're making the most of the hour we have together.
Yeah. And I will say this about Kara. She's like always like popping up behind me somewhere.
You're like, where did you come from?
I look at the internet when I get home. I'm like looking on social media when I get home, looking at my Instagram.
It's like, oh, look, I got tagged.
Hey, look at me.
I didn't even know I got caught.
What did I do today? Yeah.
If you guys want to watch a funny video, last week we celebrated my birthday, and they got an incredible video of them shooting off confetti, whatever you want to call it, confetti cannons, and scared me to slow-mo death.
You can actually see him realize he's not dying in the video.
And you can also see like my fat cheeks just like like a blowfish.
Because it's slow.
Like, I'm scared now.
I did not notice that in the video.
You can watch it again. You'll notice.
Okay.
I noticed right away.
We noticed the worst about ourselves, right?
So just remember that you can get a lot of content. So use a variety of formats to get your message out there. The next thing, the part that, again, I think does scare most people is posting. Post. Right?
Every day.
That part's hard.
It is hard.
I get it.
It can be hard to come up with that much content.
Yeah. And it requires a lot. It does require a lot of attention.
It does. And especially on days like if it's for your business, like on a weekend day, if you're not actually in the office, you're going to have to probably plan that post.
Yeah. I think planning, that right there is the key word.
You're right.
One of the things that we do here at Beefy, obviously when we do a social media campaign for a client, is create an entire editorial calendar and a strategy around what keywords we're going to use and what hashtags we're going to use and what themed days we have, all of these things.
Right.
And we even have this service called our social media playbooks where we'll actually plan your social media for you. But instead of us managing it for you every month, we just kind of give you the playbook. Here's how you do it. Here's the first 30 days of content. Here's all your images and your templates. That is the key thing.
Yeah.
If you can plan what your week looks like on social media, even if it's loosely, then you'll be fine.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? If you know on Mondays we share blogs, and on Tuesdays we share podcasts, and on Wednesdays we share motivational tips, and Thursdays we share behind the scenes videos.
Right.
Well, all of a sudden the week just started to fill itself in.
It did.
That calendar, which was overwhelming,
is now
it's full.
Manageable.
Yeah. And so I'd say that's kind of the secret tip I'd give you today would be if all you can do to plan your social media is to write a calendar down and say, okay, I'm going to post Monday through Friday. So 5 days a week, maybe not even the full 7 days a week, 5 days a week. Come up with a theme for every single day. Like I just said, motivational Mondays and throwback Thursdays and tip Tuesdays, whatever, right? Come up with those days. Because once you do that, it's actually really easy. There's only 4 weeks in a month.
Right.
Which means if every Monday is Motivational Monday, what do you need? You only need 4 motivational tips.
Exactly. It breaks it down into manageable chunks.
That's right.
Like kind of how we were talking about with the planner last week. You might be afraid to make a plan because you won't get it all done.
Yeah.
But it actually makes it more manageable because you're looking at what exactly you have to do.
It's always overwhelming when you don't see the full picture.
Exactly.
Right?
And when you break it down and, hey, I only need 4 motivational Mondays. I only need, 4 terrific Tuesday posts. I only need 4 wacky Wednesday posts.
Yeah, wacky Wednesdays. All of the pups.
Well, yeah.
I like the wacky Wednesdays.
Yeah.
You're right. That is manageable.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think one of the other things for those of you out there that are new to social media or you've never heard of this, there are some incredible social media management tools.
Oh yeah.
Sprout Social, Agora Pulse, CoSchedule, Later.
Yeah. Okay, I saw an ad for that this week, and I was like, I bet we use it, but I don't know how to ask Andrew, so I wanted to bring that up in this podcast.
Hootsuite, there's a ton.
Oh yeah, I used to use that one. That one was pretty cool.
All you have to do is create that. First of all, like I said, first things first, create those 5 days of themes. Now you know, okay, I need 4 of this, 4 of this, 4 of that, 4 of this, 4 of that. Okay, cool. All right, let me sit down. I usually, Kara probably doesn't love me for this, but I've challenged her before that I think you can sit down in one day and create social media content for an entire month. Yeah. Now, that's a bit loaded in the sense that, I would say, yes, we can create our 4 of everything. Okay. And what that does is it serves as your foundation. Right. If you're not doing anything on social media right now, that's where you should start. Yeah. Because now you have a full calendar.
Come up with a daily plan of what you're doing and start to fill it.
And schedule it out.
Start with today.
Because all of a sudden what felt like 30 days of social media work only took 1 day. Right. You only did it once. You scheduled it to go out for the next 30 days. Right. But you did it all in 1 day. Yeah. Well, now all of a sudden it only takes 1 day a month to schedule your whole month of social media. Right. Now, if your goals are those big, audacious, I want 1 million followers, once you've done that, you've got a lot more work cut out for you. Yeah. Now you need to go live on Instagram, and now you need to go, create a weekly YouTube video, or now you need to go put a TikTok video out every single day.
And make sure you're engaging with the people that engage with you.
I love that. I love that because it's so important that we listen to our audience.
100%.
And that you shape your content based on what they want. Yeah. You know, sure. Okay. I came up with my 5 days of content. Right. What content now after 3 months of doing that, because that's where you're starting. You've never done anything now up until now. That's where you start. Yeah. And as you start to see the engagement start to happen, you're going to quickly see what gets great engagement and people care about and what stuff doesn't do well. Right. And you're going to say, okay, you know what? Tuesdays don't do well. Let's rethink Tuesdays.
What are we doing? Right? What could we do better?
And then also look at the days that are performing really well and say, what about those days are doing so well?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, why are Waggy Wednesdays so popular? Oh, it's because we're sharing stuff that people actually feel like kind of as a break from everyday life. Right. Cool. Let's bring a little bit more of that into the mix.
Sometimes just the fact that you're there, I wouldn't be, not that you don't want to get off brand. You want to make sure you're on brand. But social media is one of those places where it's not as important to stay all about your product all the time. In fact, that can get redundant and stagnant, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I always tell clients, whether we create you an editorial calendar, whether we manage your social media for you, whether you're doing it yourself, it's important that even beyond that base level of content that we're scheduling, right? The stuff that kind of becomes, like you said, can become like mundane or static. Yeah. At least you've got that stuff to make sure that, like, on the week that you're on vacation or the 3 days that you're sick and you can't do something else, there's something out there. Yeah. Right. And your clients trust that you have a presence, and your new customers do, and your friends in college, whatever. Right. But then on those other days where you are available, when you can take 5 minutes to make a funny video, like us shooting the cannons, or us having, like today, I know Kara got a little video of us having lunch together as a team, getting the baked potato that broke the TV. Oh yeah, it's all proof. The big proof of the potato. That little content, although it might seem like no one cares about that, they do.
Oh yeah, they love that stuff.
They look at you and go, "Wow, that team really, they get along."
Right.
Right? They have fun together.
Right.
They must like working with each other. Well, what does that mean about the company?
If you look at it this way, how many people go to that really terrible small pawn shop in Las Vegas because it had a show? Yeah. I've been there. Yep. It's not like the best pawn shop I've ever been to. Yeah, there's cool stuff in there. Yeah. But it's not like
the fanciest pawn shop in the world.
No. Not at all. But people flock to it because of that show. And you know what's interesting, talking about, is your social media doing what you want it to? Yeah. In their case, no, it was not. Because they don't have people coming in for pawns. Yeah. They have people coming in to tour the studio.
Exactly. And what happened all of a sudden, I'm not saying that they're not doing well for themselves. No. But all of a sudden, there is this shift in, yikes, are we getting enough people actually just pawning their stuff? Right. Or is it all just spectators?
Is it just the TV show at that point?
You need more than spectators to run a business.
Right. You need people who are actually using your product.
That's right. You need relationships.
Relationships.
Right? I think that rolls us into the next point is building relationships, especially with influencers in your space. I think people often overlook this, but I don't know if I love that tip, build relationships with influencers. I think I'd rather tell you guys, expand your circle of influence.
I agree with that. That's way better word.
Right? When you start on social media, yes, you're going to have a limited reach. Your friends, your family, your mom. My mom likes every single social media post we post. Thank you, Mom.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. I need that love. But it's important that we expand that circle of influence, right? When you start to share it, now I've got your influence. When Kara shares it, I have her influence.
Right.
When my clients share it, I have their influence.
Yeah.
And so when I say building relationships with influencers, that is expanding your circle of influence.
Right.
Finding people who might already have a big reach in your space, who aren't necessarily competitive, right? A great example of this is we have a medical spa. When we first launched their social media accounts, they wanted to kind of get the word out about their medical spa.
Right.
So we found a pretty popular fashion blogger fashion influencer in the Woodlands, and we actually brought her out and gave her a free spa day. In exchange, she posted a bunch of content and she posted photos. And guess what happens?
It gave them
expanded that circle of influences, right? All her friends, all her fans,
right?
All of her, her little customers.
What was good about that is it was targeted to geographic area, and you had a fashion influencer.
That's right, and it made sense.
So the spa and the beauty side of things, that makes sense.
You don't just get a celebrity just because you're like,
they're a celebrity.
It's The Rock. We've got to have him talk about our product. It's like, well,
it may be counterproductive.
That's right. You're doing. I totally agree. I think a lot of that happens.
The wrong spokesman could tank you just as good as the right one could shoot you,
excel you. Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. I think a lot of times people will leverage friendships sometimes over quality.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, well, I know this person's famous or has a reach, so I'm going to just leverage their audience. It's like, but did it make sense?
Yeah.
Did it help?
Are their followers your target market?
Because if they're not, it's a waste of time.
It is.
It goes back to that
putting
vanity
in
metric,
the time.
Right?
Yeah.
It goes back to that thing where it's like, oh, great, we got 100 new followers. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
They didn't turn into customers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are 100 followers such important to you that you've lost sight of why you're in business?
Right.
Just like our little graphic on our thing, $0 to the $3 bills. Business Growth Hacks podcast, we're trying to show you things that are going to help you actually grow your business.
Right.
And if you're thinking about social media in a way that makes you feel like you're fueling your pride, you need to reevaluate.
Right.
If that is what you're doing it for,
cool. Go for it.
Cool beans.
But you can't expect the ROI.
That's right. So if you're paying $1,200 a month to have it done for you, don't expect.
It's all vanity metrics. Like
it's vanity, right?
It's a fancy mirror. Yeah.
It looks cool, but it didn't help you grow your business.
Yeah.
If you care about growing your business, building the right relationships, targeting,
it's going to be far more important.
It's far more important. Number 5, hosting contests and giveaways is actually massively important. I think for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
I think beyond just like being a contest or a giveaway, which seems so gimmicky, right?
Yeah.
I think it's about reciprocity.
Yes.
Right? It's about doing
that. For me, I hit like. Now, it wasn't much, but I did something.
That's right.
If I win something for that, well, I still did something.
Yeah.
It wasn't much. It wasn't a lot of effort on my part.
Sure.
But I still feel rewarded. I still feel reciprocity.
Yeah. And that is key, because I always use the analogy like social media is kind of like a bank.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance of deposits and withdrawals.
Right.
When most social marketers, most companies, small businesses, entrepreneurs are constantly withdrawing.
Oh, yeah.
What does that mean? It means go to my website, buy my product, come support me at my event, book me as a speaker, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen? Your bank's going to run dry.
Yeah. Because
you've asked for so much.
Yeah.
That you know who struggles with this the most? Nonprofits.
You're right, because they're always fundraising.
They're fundraising all the time.
It makes sense.
I get it. It's a big part of their charities. It's a big part of what they do.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson that I think other nonprofits can learn. It's a lesson that I've coached my nonprofit clients about, is that reciprocity.
Yeah.
You need to be doing way more deposits than withdrawals.
Right.
I want you to put so much value out there into the world, to your audience.
Right.
that when you do ask, when you go to deposit, there's plenty of money in the bank.
Yeah. But it's a no-brainer. I love watching your videos every week of what you do and how it affects people. I love that so much.
I'm a big Peter McKinnon fan.
Yeah.
Big YouTuber. For those of you guys out there that don't know who that is, he's like a YouTube, god for video production.
Yeah, I would say so.
And there's a bunch of them. Him, Parker Wallback. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Sorry, Parker. I don't know.
If we did it wrong.
If I got it wrong, I'm sorry. There's a bunch of these guys out here, but Peter McKinnon is one of my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like every time he launches a product, I want to buy it, even though like I might not need it.
Right. Like he did a video of a hat the other day that I really loved, and it was just a silly little video of a hat company. But I was like, dude, I want a hat now.
And it's because every other video up until then provided massive value.
Yes.
Right. It provided value that made you say, you know what? I'd like to support you. I'd like to buy your new photo filters or your new lens cover, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, whatever it may be. Yeah.
So back to contests and giveaways. Contests and giveaways is a great way to kind of get started with that, right? Yes, there's way more that you can do besides that.
Oh yeah.
Just being resourceful on a daily basis is depositing, right?
Right.
But contests and giveaways are a fun way not only to offer value to your audience, but it's also a really fun way to expand that circle of influence.
Right.
Right. When you do a giveaway, it's not going to be just the 20 people in your audience that participate.
Most likely it's gonna
it's gonna kind of kind of grow legs, and people out there are gonna be like, ooh, I want to win a 4-wheeler, or I want to win a trip to this awesome day spa.
There's a guitar pedal company right now giving away a damaged, basically a B stock version, and I was like, oh yeah,
I'll share other 100,000 things you say to do to get a point. There's a great product out there. Every tool we talk about on the podcast will definitely be mentioned in the show notes, but there's a tool called Gleam, Gleam, and it is like kind of the most popular social media contest and giveaway like app that you can add to social media.
Gotcha.
And what I love about it is it kind of gives people extra entry points based on other behaviors that they make. For example, back in the day when you do a social media contest, it was literally something as simple as tag a friend in the comments for a chance to win.
Right.
The problem with that was it was hard to like go back later and dig through the comments of who all commented and pick a winner from that.
Gleam, especially if it blew up.
Exactly. If it grows and you have 1 million people that comment, they're like, oh God, how do we randomize that? Right. And you want to be fair.
You
have to be fair.
You have to be fair. Yeah.
For multiple reasons, especially to keep the trust of the community.
Well, transparency. Yeah.
Transparency, right? Gleam makes it easy to do that, but Gleam also adds extra ways to earn points, which I really love.
That's cool.
For example, hey, if you want an extra point, go visit my website.
If
you want another extra point, go subscribe to my YouTube channel.
So you're giving them
more opportunities to win,
but you're gaining something.
Yeah. Which I love that part, because it's like for example, if you are looking to grow your Instagram account, it's a great way to do it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
People are going to join the contest. You give them an extra point for following your account.
I probably follow at least 50 to 100 accounts. For that sole purpose.
Me too. I have definitely followed accounts just because they were giving something cool away.
Let me see if I can get that cool thing. Yeah.
Right. It's a great way to build followers. Also, it's a great way to build email subscribers.
Oh yes.
People discount email lists, which we'll do a whole episode about emails and how important
I think we should, because anyway,
Yes. Email addresses are still one of the most valuable items you can get from your customers, but contests are another great way you can gather more email addresses.
Right.
And I'd say a lot of marketers out there say that they struggle figuring out how to get email addresses. Back in the day, it was as easy as like, we created an ebook and everyone downloads the ebook and we get their email.
Yep, get this for free.
Yeah, ebooks are still effective, but they're not as effective as they used to be.
No, because I don't want to and people have done what I do, and I have an email.
Pretend email, fake email.
It's trash can.
Trash, spam emails. Exactly. So if you want to get email addresses and that be quality, just like we've been talking about this whole episode, then doing something that they feel like is worth giving you their email address.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I'm like, oh my God, that's the coolest giveaway I've ever seen, I'm willing to give my email address away for that.
Absolutely.
Because if I win that, it'll be totally worth them having my email address.
Right. I will, even with the trash email account for stuff that I don't want, to get emails for, I will still use my real email address to fill stuff out if I really want it.
Yeah.
If I really am interested in that thing.
Because you don't want to miss it.
No. I'll still give them my real email address.
Funny story. Me and Kara, we were living in Nashville, and one weekend we decided to take a trip to, I think it was Gatlinburg.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, I really wanted to see, I think that's where it was. Kara could correct me if I'm wrong. But
July?
yeah, we wanted to go. There was like this place that sold like rooftop tents, and I wanted to go see their store.
Okay, I got you.
Well, on our way back, I needed to use a bathroom, but really I just saw this really cool outdoor store that I wanted to stop at, but quote unquote, I needed to use a bathroom. And so we stopped at this badass like outdoor store.
Yeah.
And we came across this really cool looking, they call it the Woolly Bear. It's like a little adventure trailer that you pull in the back of your truck, and it's got like a rooftop tent on it, and it's got some pull out coolers and stove top. And I was like, oh, I really wish I could have that. So I went and got Kara out of the car. I was like, hey, come check this thing out.
Yeah.
You don't need that. It's $12,000, whatever.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, all right, yeah, you're right. I don't have $12,000 anyways. And long story short, the guy that was working the store said, hey, they're giving away the Taxa Mantis, which is their larger trailer,
right,
on their website right now. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So me and Kara go to have lunch after we went to this store, and we were just sitting there, and I was like, I'm gonna just fill this out. Like, why not? This seems cool. It'd be really cool to win this.
Yeah.
Kid you not, 6 months later, we go to Country Music Fest, and they have this Taxa Mantis on display. So we got to walk through it and tour it. We had never seen it before.
Yeah.
We're like, this thing's badass. Like,
really
this is really cool.
I really hope we win it. Yeah.
And a month after that, we get a phone call, and we won the Taxa Mantis. All for giving away our email address. So it just goes to show, and I have a deeper connection with that brand now.
Right.
You know, I've followed them this whole time.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think at that music festival you would have been so eager to tour it had you not been in a drawing to win one?
No. And isn't it crazy how something so small made such an impact?
One thing that I would say about social media to remember is we can be such vain creatures.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And wherever you can play up vanity in your favor, do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think the last thing we have to talk about when it comes to social media, because I feel like this part gets, I wouldn't say overlooked, but maybe
recognized.
Yeah, or valued. Like maybe people just don't spend as much time on this as they should. And that's listening and responding. And we covered this briefly earlier, but I think that it means a lot to your fans, your potential customers, when you actually engage with them.
Yes.
Even if all they do is say cool or awesome. You simply taking the time to respond.
Thank you.
If you get on TikTok right now and pick up any video and go into the comment section right now, you're going to see these random comments that say like, I know you're so busy that you'll probably not be able to respond to this comment. Or first comment, you know.
Yeah.
Or I
that
bet
one happens a lot.
I bet you won't say this thing. That is literally people out there looking to be recognized, looking to be heard.
And even aside from marketing stands, you know, what you can achieve for your brand or your business, touching someone's life and their heart could change everything for them. You can pull them up out of a pit that they've been in or not. And that ultimately would even be a bigger reward than
earning a customer. Yeah.
But that's, in doing that, if you really touched their heart and really made them feel that you cared about them, they will remember that. Yeah.
And I think that, I just think that there's so much out there. There's a lot of noise on social media.
100%.
There's a lot going on. And I think that people want to be recognized. They want to be heard. And I think especially from a business perspective, as it pertains to growing your business with social media, the sales process has changed.
Yes.
Back in the day, I needed to talk to a salesperson to get answers. I needed that.
Today's consumer is informed.
They're informed.
Yeah.
So when they come to you with a question, they know exactly what that question is, and they might even know what the answer is.
They might be seeing what you think about it.
So when you respond, don't talk at them. You're talking with them.
Yep.
Because it really shows a lot about how do you value them as a customer,
as a person.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because that goes a long way.
It really does.
Into building loyalty.
Someone who doesn't feel valued isn't going to be loyal to your brand or your company, no matter what.
I think that this is one of my favorite topics, social media. I think there's a lot to learn, and I think that we've only kind of
we've dipped
peeled
in
the layer
bucket.
back here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's deep. We could go into any of one of these platforms in depth, and we probably will. We might even bring experts on.
That's what I was thinking too as we were sitting here talking. We probably ought to bring some experts.
We need a
on.
TikToker. We need an Instagrammer. We need, because there's so much to learn on each of those platforms. But I think that the big thing I want to get across here is there's a lot of ways that social media can benefit your business if you're willing to put in the time.
Yep.
To writing down those goals, to figuring out where your audience is hanging out before you ever get started.
Absolutely.
And then when you're ready to get started, do it exactly what we said. Create those themed days.
And stay consistent.
Schedule it out and be consistent. And I think you'll be successful. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us again for another episode. Business Growth Hacks is a lot of fun for us to do because it allows us to help you grow your business. And it's just fun. I like to hang out with John. Me and John have been friends forever. And so it's fun to talk about stuff that we are excited about as a company. All the resources we talked about today will be in the comments below. We will see you guys next week.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Business Growth Hacks Podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. To get more marketing tips and tricks, follow Beefy Marketing on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Beefy Marketing. And to take your business to the next level, check out our website at www.beefymarketing.com.